good time out there.
So, Zare, tell us how you got involved in music in the first place, and what do you do with music now in Melbourne?
Okay, how I got involved in music, I think a lot of my family are into music. Like my grandmother, she sings in the church and plays the, the keyboard, not very well, if I was to be honest. And my uncle, he had a sound system. He was always into music, and then growing up, we go to play. I mean, if you know of the sound system culture in Jamaica.
Yeah, it's amazing,
the
musical culture in Jamaica.
Like every corner, there's somebody with some kind of setup.
Yeah.
So, from high school I'm buying records and stuff like that, and went to play at parties. And, once I grew up, I just kind of grew up into that kind of environment.
Yeah.
So it took me into actually doing a course in music production, and later on actually working as a publicist for a group in Jamaica. And I think one of the big accolades for doing that was that I was the marketing manager for a particular singer that went #1 in 12 countries.
Wow.
Who was that?
That was a group called TOK, Touch of Class, and I know a lot of people won't here looking at me like, what the hell? Yeah, but the genre is dancehall.
Yeah.
And dancehall is not big here in Australia, but like in North America, in the Caribbean, in Europe, reggae dancehall is huge. So yeah, the song went #1 in North America and in Europe.
Wow,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course you can get my autograph afterwards. So yeah, and I just did that, and then I started. I was a DJ, as you've known here in Australia. So I moved to North America for a little bit, and didn't do too much of that stuff there. But I'm in Australia now. I'm actually doing that now a lot more. So that was my travels in music in a quick nutshell, and I don't want to spend that forever telling you about it, but yeah, that's just how I got started, and just my my involvement.
Cool. And did you find that it's just being in the right place at the right time, or that the study and the effort that you put in really helped you to get where you were and where you are now?
It's a little bit of both. To be honest, you have to study, you have to have an idea of the industry. That definitely helps.
Yeah.
I think being in the right place at the right time, having connections, networking is key. There's a saying.
Take note, guys.
Everyone tells us that.
Yeah, you have to network, and that's how I got my big break. I kept knocking on doors and asking the right questions, and I guess there was an opening, and somebody remembered me calling them at probably 10 o'clock at night, disturbing their dinner or whatever, and saying, hey, what do you think of this and whatnot? So being at the right place at the right time is very important. Networking, and of course doing the necessary studies to have the proper knowledge, because once you get your foot in, you have to have the right knowledge and able to do what is required.
Yeah.
So it's really those three things put together.
Awesome.
And what's the craziest or the most amazing experience you've had so far in the music industry, whether it's here in Australia or overseas?
I think the first thing that comes to mind, I went on a tour of sorts with Bunny Wailer, and Bunny Wailer is one of the founding members of Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
And being on the tour, I was assigned to this guy, Bunny Wailer.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't know why at the time, but I guess I soon know why. He's a very difficult guy to deal with. I guess being Bunny Wailer, and if you understand who he is, he's the founding member of Bob Marley and the Wailers. He's a legend. That to me was probably the highest point in my career, having to meet with them, and then taken to do interviews, and just pretty much, for the lack of a better word, babysitting for a week, just doing tours and stuff like that, and doing such a good job that while on the tour I was promoted, to pretty much being the assistant manager for everybody else on the tour, which was about 30 people. So that was an experience in itself.
Yeah, that's amazing.
a bit jealous.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, music is fun. A lot of hard work. We only get to see like the glitz and the glamour on TV, right? Where
Yeah,
everybody's
so true.
like doing all this good stuff, but it's a lot of hard work. You
Yeah.
know, staying up late at nights and 2 hours sleep. And the thing about it is, it doesn't matter what's happening if you've gotten 2 hours sleep or you have a headache or you just have to perform at the end of the day.
The show must go on, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know you were saying like it's a mixture of obviously putting the effort in, doing the studies, and also being in the right place at the right time. But what would you give as advice to people like us, just starting out, or something that you would say to yourself if you could meet yourself when you were a lot younger and say, hey, this is what I think you should do and how you should go about it?
That's a very, very good question, and it's somewhat similar to a question that I asked some guests on my radio show, because I do run a radio show now, a regular radio show here in Melbourne. Is like some of the established artists, what's the advice? And it's everybody says the same thing. For one, you have to have the dedication. You have to love what you do, because like I said, it's not all the glitz and glamour. So it's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you have to do that it's really not so glamorous. So for one, you have to have the passion, and I think you have to have perseverance. Most importantly, because you'll be asked to do something. Like for example, if you're a singer, you get 10 no's before you even get half a yes. So you have to be persistent, and you have to really do your homework. You have to do your homework, because you get one opportunity. Somebody says yes one time, and if you mess up, that yes become 10 no's. Because not only will that person say no, but everybody who he knows and who is seeing your failure will say no too. So you have to be on top of your game. So the one time you get that chance to go through that door, you have to be on point.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a quick little story. When I started as a DJ, and at the time in Jamaica, and we call it a selector, because we do it a little bit differently.
Yeah, can you give us the accent and say that a little bit?
You mean like, yeah man, in Jamaica we're a selector. Yeah. So one of the things I used to do, I used to rehearse my sets in my head all the time. So I'll be walking and people are like, this guy's crazy. So I'm thinking how I'm gonna. I still do it now. So you're thinking, okay, this is how I'm gonna introduce the song. This is what I'm gonna say, and you rehearse this like as soon as you get up to when you go to sleep, because when you actually get to do it, you get one shot. So you have to be like on point. Like it's not like when you go to work, you have a 9-to-5 job, and you get to enter something in a computer, and then you have somebody who looks over it like a quality control person. I say, hey, Zare, you missed something here. Can you refile this? It doesn't work like that in music. Get on the stage. Your quality control person is the crowd, and there's only yeah or boo. And people tend to yes, it's good for the next day, and then you have to get on the horse again. But boos will last forever. So yeah.
Very true. And tell us more about your radio show.
Well, my radio show. It's predominantly reggae dancehall. It's on keepupradio.com, and it's funny how I got to do the radio show, because I was thinking to do a radio show since I've been here, a few months, and I was going to Adelaide to do a show with a guy that I was backing at the time, and somebody asked if I would like to do a radio show, and I was like, yeah, I'm actually thinking about it myself right now, and they were like, well, the opening is here. And I said fine, so they asked me to do like a little test to see if I would, qualify, I guess, And I just did it, and they were like, they called me like the very next day and like, oh yeah, you're good to go. And I'm like, okay, so when do I start training? And they're like, oh, training for what? And I'm like, yeah, don't I get trained? They said, oh, I thought you were like trained and you were good to go. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. So the radio show, as I said, is predominantly reggae dancehall. we play a lot of, older hits from, yesteryear, so people can understand where the music is coming from. And we play a lot of new school dancehall, which is a little bit more popular here in Australia.
Yeah.
We play like Vibes Cartel, everybody seems to know who that is.
Yeah.
And Sean Paul and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's funny enough, a lot of people didn't know Sean Paul was Jamaican, but he is.
Really?
Yeah, I actually went to school, with Sean Paul. We didn't know each other. I knew his brother, but I didn't know him at the time. I knew of him and who he was, and him doing his thing at college and, singing and, all that kind of stuff. So that's my radio show. So if anybody who's listening right now want to tune into my radio show, it's keepupradio.com. It's on a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. and you can tune in and listen to some of the wicked dancehall tunes. And we always keep it pumping. And if you want to dance in your living room or in your car, or if you stream it to your phone, feel welcome to do that.
Yeah, we'll chuck those details up on our Facebook and our website. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And do you have any questions for us? Because we like to, put you in the hot seat and...
No, so it's my turn. All right, cool.
Give us some hard questions.
Well, for me, one of the questions I'll ask, because I did that course similar to some of what you're doing right now in terms of audio production, and from a student point of view, what would you say is the hardest thing to keep you motivated every day to come to school and to do what is required? I mean, if you look at it this way, it's music, and right now a lot of people know that, music, it doesn't pay because we have all this piracy and all this stuff. What keeps you motivated to do what you do?
I think it's each other. Like for us, we always like playing and just inspire each other all the time. And I think that's the biggest part. Is just kind of having people there that inspire you, that they do something really cool, and you want to, come out and do something that you can bring to the table and keep cool too.
That's so true, actually. Yeah.
I think that
just got to continually impress people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
For me, it's live music, going out to gigs, and reminding myself why exactly I'm doing it. And, guest speakers who come in. We had Tim Dalton, who's pretty big over in the UK and the US in terms of management. And listening to him talk, you're just like, man, I want to do that stuff.
Wow. What are you studying now?
Music business.
Music business. Wicked. Because that is, that's the crux of it all. I mean, no disrespect to anybody here who's sitting before me. But the business
of the nuts and bolts, isn't it?
Yeah, because think about it. You go into music for the love of it, but if you're going to be doing it full time, you have to earn a living, right? And that's where the business comes in, because I think that is where a lot of artists fails, because and I've seen it here personally, where I know of an artist right now, very talented, like super talented, and he did an album and produced it. It was, I listened to it and it was like, wow, this is good. And he produced the album, and I have the album. What am I going to do next? And he had no idea what was the next step. And this is where we need somebody like yourself to come in from a business point of view and say, okay, this is the next step to do. You need to do A, B, C. You need to, find distribution. You need to start to put yourself out there in terms of getting gigs and all that kind of stuff. So, but and I have another question now. So, because you're studying business, right?
Yeah.
Now, what aspect? Let me first ask you that. What aspect of business itself in music that you're studying?
Sort of all over blanket studying. I personally want to get into working as a booking agent at some major agency in the US or something like that.
Okay.
So, but we kind of learn about everything. We're learning artist management.
I say y'all having a good time out there.